Why pay for a gym membership when fitness games that you only have to pay for one exists? Well, I'm trying to answer that question because I have been on a mission to try every fitness game I can get my hands on and review them from the perspective of, can this game replace the gym? At least for beginners. And thus far on my journey of reviewing games like Beat Saber and Punch Fit and even Nintendo Switch Sports, I haven't really found one that balances everything together. That is, until I found this game. The game of today, I have talked about it for years, and I'm finally doing a proper review on it. Ring Fit Adventure. This Nintendo Switch 1 originally based game was my lifeline in 2020 when all of the gyms were closed and I didn't know how to program for myself yet. I used this game as a fun way to keep active and fit alongside a couple other Switch games before I really got into VR, while all the gyms were closed and I couldn't go stare at equipment. And honestly, I still, to this day, even after getting all my certifications, think that this game is not only the most well-balanced game when it comes to balancing cardio versus strength training versus even yoga, you get a little bit in this game, but it is also a really fun game to come back to as you're beating the bosses throughout your RPG journey. I often compare my clients' journeys with RPG style mechanics, and that's what this game blends together. It also gives you some pretty decent tips and tricks along the way, but I don't want to keep talking about it, so let's just jump into some game footage, and then we can come back and talk about how it stands up against a gym environment. Like any good RPG should, this game utilizes both the mini-boss and main boss mechanic, where you are traveling all the different worlds to gain XP and collect items along the way to the final journey of the final boss. However, unlike in your typical video games where you would press A to dodge roll, you are the controller in this game, and I love this mechanic. Using exercises as your typical move set in order to beat the bosses. Along the way, you'll learn new exercises and continue to build your skill set, but each main gym has a unique skill set you want to learn about, whether it be core, upper body, lower body, yoga, cooling down, stretching, you name it, this game has it. This game even teaches you a little bit about nutrition in the form of the health potions, aka smoothies, and ingredients you collect along the way. You can make smoothies, but the definitions of each of the smoothies as well as the ingredients will show you a little bit about XP, meaning the health you gain from these items in the real world, as well as give you health back in the game. So it teaches you a little bit about nutrition and shows you ingredients that are healthy you may not have been able to discover prior. Another thing this game really likes to promote is healthy recovery, healthy relationship with exercise, which I really love. It encourages you to stop at certain points of time. It encourages you to do recovery exercises. It encourages you to do a warm-up and a cool-down at the end of every session. It even quizzes you on the muscles you were using during that day, which is a really cool mechanic that not a lot of other fitness games have. All of that put together, though, you gain your XP just like any RPG, and you continue to level up your character and your real-life stats. And there you have it. Ring Fit Adventure has long been my favorite fitness game. Even when you compare it to things like Wii Fit from back in the day, it keeps you entertained. It doesn't feel like you're working out, and you can keep going even way past you should. Similar to that of working out and being sore the next day when you go to the gym, you definitely have that mechanic playing Ring Fit Adventure. I have seen countless stories of people seeing tons of weight loss success with this game, and to me, while it doesn't fully replace the gym, especially as you continue to progress and gain more muscle mass to the point that you might need more than your own body weight to continue to progress, this game is amazing for beginners in the weight loss space that may not feel comfortable in a gym. It is the most well-balanced when it comes to muscle building versus cardio, upper versus lower, core work, yoga work. You can design any type of workout that you want with this game as long as you just stick to body weight. Now, if you need something more advanced, obviously this game is something you just throw in when you're traveling or want to do something at home because it's cold and you don't want to hike your butt to the gym. But as a beginner, you could progress through this game and beat every level, which I still haven't done, and see a ton of success as long as it's paired with a good nutrition program. This game isn't going to solve all of your health and fitness woes, because obviously nutrition is the most important, but if I were to say that any game could in fact replace a gym, this is the one that does it. This and a VR game that I've reviewed in the past called FitXR are the closest to replacing a well-rounded workout routine. FitXR had the downside of subscriptions, whereas Ring Fit doesn't. You don't even need to have Nintendo Online to play this game. So, currently, as it stands, Ring Fit wins the review world when it comes to fitness games. Now, this isn't the end of my gaming reviewing journey, and far from it, actually. I have new reviews coming out every other week for the rest of this year. But for right now, if you were looking for a game to replace the gym because you don't have a cheap gym by you, or you don't have equipment at home to do these YouTube workouts, or you just want something fun and light and not too intense, Ring Fit Adventure for the $60 or whatever it's priced now is 100% worth it and will last you a good long while before you have to progress on to finding a gym or equipment at home that you would need to continue to progress your journey. Now, the one downside I found to this game is the fact that it is a Switch 1 exclusive. You can play it on the Switch 2 now that it is out. However, there is not new attachments for the game, so you are reliant on the old Joy-Cons from the Switch 1. So you get the upgraded graphics of the Switch 2, but not the upgraded Joy-Cons. And to me, that's a little unfortunate, and I'm hoping Nintendo comes out with a Ring Fit 2 or some other bundle that allows us to get upgrades to the Ring-Con and the leg strap. But for now, if you only own a Switch 2, you can buy the game, you just might have to go get some cheap Joy-Cons if you didn't own a Switch 1 prior. And that's a little unfortunate, but I feel more people are likely to own a Switch 1 at this point than a Switch 2 due to how costly this little thing was when it came out. So I'm not as worried as recommending this game when it comes to would you buy it. It is absolutely worth the price, especially if it's still at its original release price and not the Switch 2 prices. But that's really the only downside I see to this game, is not being able to play it on the Switch 2 without having previously owned it for a Switch 1, given the Joy-Cons are required to use the Ring-Con, I think is what it's called, and the leg strap. And that is also true for Switch Sports, because there are some games that require the leg strap. So you might have to reverse back to some of those older Joy-Cons, but other than that, I don't see a downside with this game. It is fun, it doesn't require a lot of room, and right now it tops the charts for game that can replace gym in comparison to some of the other games I've reviewed. But if you want to see the future games and see if anybody knocks Ring Fit off of its high horse that it's been on in my sphere of video games or fitness video games for the last, 5 years? 2 since I've been making content, but 5 since I've been playing it myself. Hit that subscribe button and join the Chaos crew to be able to see that and other content related to fitness and health tips for gamers. But for now, I hope you keep on leveling up.